Hey you guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Notification Gang. Thank you guys so much for clicking on that notification bell, and to all the new subscribers, welcome to the family, man. So I am Ntwanano, and as you all know, we're here to talk more about our careers and the CA journey and its ups and its downs. So basically today's video is about getting into training contracts, which for me I feel like is something every student or every CA student is looking forward to when they get into it. So yeah, today we unpacking that, and I'm also gonna talk a little bit about my journey on how I got to sign my training contract with the firm that I'm with right now. So if you already feel like this video is for you, please do hit the like button and comment down below and let me know your story. Let's keep the conversation going in the comments. You're also welcome to follow me on Instagram and Facebook. I'll leave my links somewhere here on the screen. And yeah, man, let's do it. So training contracts, right? I received a question a few days back on Instagram on my DMs, and someone was asking me, hey, I'm not sure like what to do with the CA thing, like what is the end goal, like what can I do with it after I'm done, and also how do I decide where to do my articles, so like in audit, in banking, what other options, right? So as you guys know, if you've sent me a DM before, I do answer to a DM and give you guidance. But remember, I'm not an advisor and I can't decide for you what to do with your career. You have to make the ultimate decision. So but I do give you like guidelines and stuff. So I sent this person an article by Clive Kaplan. So if you're on LinkedIn, please go and check out Clive and his page. He has a blog. He's the CEO of Green Minds Capital, I think that's the name of the company. So he does like CA coaching, career coaching, and I think he's brilliant in what he does. I don't have a coach necessarily for my career because I feel like it's still very early at this stage. Like everything I'm doing at this point is still like planned out for me by Psycha. I haven't gotten to a point where I need to decide what actually I want to do with this career. I'm still just following the traditional route. But yeah, if you at that point where you now want to decide and you need some guidance, you can contact him and set up a session, whatever. This is not a sponsored video by Green Minds Capital. I am just referring you guys because I think he's really good. But anyway, so I sent this person the article where Clive describes or talks about, like, the title of the article I think is I'm a newly qualified CA. Now what do I do with my life? I think it's something along those lines. So it's a really good article. You guys should read it. But what I'm trying to say here is that for most of us, right, me included, at this point being a second year trainee, I'm also not sure what I want to do with the CA thing when I'm done. All I know is that probably end of next year I'm gonna be done with my articles, and then I'll be eligible to register as a CASA, and then that's where the journey ends. Like the 7-year long journey has ended. But like, now what do I do? I am so also not sure on that. And if you're a student and you're wondering about this, maybe it's good to read this article. So let me tell you guys about how I got into signing my training contract and how I feel about it now looking back. So in matric, right, in the school that I was at, we had a contact with the Big Four. I think most schools do in matric. I don't know, but I think most schools do. So we had a contact, and then the Big Four came, and they said they wanted the top, I think it was the top 10 students in matric, and I happened to be one of them. So they came and they did like assessments, like professional assessments, like psychometric tests, all of those tiny little tests that they do. So they did that, and then they said, if you guys pass these tests and you meet the criteria academically and also as an individual, they also look at like your personality and stuff to see if it matches the culture of the firm. And they said if you guys are successful in these, then we will consider you guys for a bursary with the firm and a training contract. Now, looking back now, I now understand what they meant. But at that point in matric, all I heard in my mind was you have the opportunity to get a bursary. And that's all that mattered to me at the time, because I had to fund my studies somehow. My parents were willing to pay for my studies, yes, but I didn't want to put that necessary burden on them if I could qualify and get a bursary to fund myself. So after that, they got back to us, I think within like 3-4 weeks, and they sent us an email and said, hey, you've been successful in the tests that we've performed. We require you to come up to the office in Johannesburg for an interview, and they had a program for like a VAC work type of program. So I told my parents about it, and they were like, yeah man, if accounting is what you want to do, then maybe let's apply for this opportunity. If you change your mind along the line, then obviously the bursary would fall away. And there was no like commitments made or anything like that. So I went up to Joburg for the mini VAC work or the mini assessment, whatever it was, and met other people that were also part of the program. And at the end of that program, they emailed us bursary forms, and that came with a 3-year training contract, right? So obviously the conditions of the bursary was that I take up a bursary with them. They fund my studies from first year, and it will be reassessed. The bursary will be reassessed every year based on my results from university. So I signed up for the bursary, and obviously the terms is that if I do get the bursary, or I sign up for the bursary, I also have to sign the training contract. And so I signed the training contract as well. But remember, to me, I didn't even know what the training contract means. I just knew that this company is gonna fund me, and then after that I'm gonna work for them for the equivalent of the years that they funded me. That's all it was to me. So it was not about, is this company in audit, is this company in retail, is this company in banking or whatever. For me at that point, it was about the bursary and to find a way to fund my studies. So I got the bursary, and the documents were signed, and my results came out in January, and they finalized it, right? So that's how I signed my training contract. It had nothing to do with whether I want to do my articles in this or that or that. And I think it's because of being not being informed and not knowing at that point that certain decisions need to depend on certain matters that you need to consider over and above the bursary. There were other opportunities of bursaries that I could have gotten, maybe that had no commitments, but I didn't know. That was some 7-8 years maybe ago, and yeah, I didn't know any better. So that's how I got my training contract, and that's how I got into the auditing space, right? So the danger with signing a training contract at that point, or so early in your career, is that you don't know what you want to do, right? You don't know what the options are, unless you're somebody who's well researched and you've done your homework. But I feel like for 90% of us, we don't really know if we want to do our articles in audit, or want to do our articles in retail, or in banking, or in consulting, or whatever other option is there. So we just sort of sign up just so you're also signed with a firm type of thing. I remember there was this lady, I think I was in second year, and the Big Four had come to the campus, and they were doing an expo, and she said to us, I signed my training contract out of fear, because I thought, oh my god, everyone is signing, why am I not signing? I need to sign something. And so she signed, and that's how she got her training contract. So just like what I want to say in this video basically is that you don't have to sign a training contract, guys. If you're not sure what you want to do, do not feel any pressure to get into a training contract unless you need funding, and the funding, the conditions of the funding is that you need to sign a training contract, then you can. But even if that's the case, you need to know that once you sign this training contract and you accept the funding, that means you're going to do your articles in a certain space, right? And if that space is audit or banking or retail or whatever, you need to be comfortable with doing your articles in that space. You need to be comfortable with the type of skills you will have in that industry. So I think it goes beyond just funding what you get. So yeah, I think consider, you don't have to sign a training contract very early in your career. I think if I had the opportunity to wait and I didn't need the funding, I could have waited as far as maybe June in my CTA year. Then I would start thinking about, do I want to do audit? Do I want to do banking? Because the thing is, once you accept a training contract that comes with a bursary, you basically closing off any other opportunity out there, unless if you can get a company. Let's say for instance you signed a training contract with an audit firm, but now you're in your CTA year and you've seen how audit does, and you're just like, I do not want to do articles in audit anymore, this is not for me. You can get a company that could be willing to buy you out of the contract. So basically what happens is they will pay the audit firm however whatever amount you've used for the bursary at that point. But remember, this is subjective to the audit firm agreeing to that transaction as well. So if you can get a company to buy you out and the audit firm agrees, then you can let go of that audit. But then remember, you have to do your articles in the space that the company that's buying you out is in, or the industry that they're in. So some people do get successful in that regard and they get companies that buy them out. Some other people are not as lucky. It's not as easy for firms or companies to buy people out, mainly because there's a lot of trainees, guys. They could get other people who don't have that hustle, if I can put it like that. But yeah, you don't have to sign very early. Like, wait until you're ready. Wait until you sure, research as much as you can. You have from first year or matric up until maybe September of your CTA year to research these things. You can research audit, go to VacWorks, see how this thing works. Because the trap is, you think audit is this glamorous thing where you just wake up and wear suits and go to clients and talk with CFOs. But there's so much more that goes on behind the scenes than just being on the front line and talking to the big guys in corporate, you know. So like, research all of that, research what they do in audit, go to VacWorks, go to you know, the companies also have these things, what do they call them, like they invite students to like a bride type of thing with the company's executives, or the, you know, like those things. You can go to those things, attend those things as much as you can to get exposure and see the kind of work that you will be doing, the kind of environment you may be working in. You might find that you think, banking looks pretty good. Hey, like, imagine myself working into Investec Bank every day on a Monday morning at 8 o'clock. But you might find that you don't actually enjoy the type of work that the trainees at Investec do. You don't enjoy the banking sector. And also some other things that you have to consider is that some of these industries log you in. So for instance, I'm not discouraging doing articles in banking, but I just want to give an example with it. If you do your articles in a bank, you get very specialized skills and very specialized competencies. And what that basically means is, when you're now out of your articles and you looking for employment, you will be better suited to work at another bank with the skills that you have. It would be very difficult for you to move from a banking space to an audit space and audit, because you don't have that audit background and you've also only known the banking sector. Basically, it's just like how you do your articles in let's say maybe a retail company like Tiger Brands, right? So you do your articles in Tiger Brands, all you know would be like the retail industry. But if you do your articles in audit, the thing with audit is you rotate, right? You rotate between different sectors and industries. So I could have a client in the steel industry, and I would know what happens in the steel industry because I have that client. From that client, I could have a client in telecommunications, maybe clients like MTN, Vodacom, Telsi, whatever. And I would know what happens in the telecommunication industry. From there, I would rotate to every different industry. And then after my articles, I am this person who can be a financial manager in telecommunications, in steel, in mining, in banking, in because we also audit banks, right? So we sort of know what happens in the banking sector, although we wouldn't have the same depth of skills as somebody who actually works in a bank. So I think that's why a lot of us go into audit, because we don't know what to do, or we don't know what we want to do. So we want that option to rotate in between the different sectors and be like a well-rounded person. But if you're somebody who already know, like, banking is my thing, this consulting is my thing, this is my thing, then go straight onto it. There's no reason for you to waste time in working in telecommunications and rotating to mining if you know that your heart and your mind and your passion is in banking. So I think we need to consider those things before we sign a training contract, and we need to give ourselves enough time to wait and to get to know what really goes down in these different disciplines. Yeah, because it does happen. I've had people that started their articles, for instance, in a retail company, and then halfway decided to resign and go over to an audit firm, or they were in an audit firm and they decided this is not for me, resign halfway and go to another company. You can do this, remember, you can. There's always that option that if you really do not enjoy this thing, you can leave. But remember, cycle will give you a penalty where they sort of extend your training contract for a minimum of 6 months. I think it's still 6 months. So if you change like training offices, you can get that extension. But for some people, it's worth getting the extension than staying in that particular industry or that particular company or whatever it is. So yeah, my thing today was just take your time, guys, with training contracts. Like, do not commit yourself in things you don't know. Also, research the company that you're going to be working for. Know who the CEO is, know who the CFO is, know who the managers are. Normally this type of information is on their websites, so you can go onto their website and see the CFO, the CEO, the financial manager. These are mostly the people you will be working around if you're probably doing your articles. So yeah, I think that's where I'm gonna leave this video. I hope it helped someone, and I hope it answers most of your questions. If you did have questions around which industry is better to do my articles, or where should I go to do my articles, or things I should consider when deciding where to do my articles, but above that, what to do when you now have the CA designation, I think that's another video, which I don't think will be suited for me right now, because I also don't know what I'm gonna do. So yeah, man, as this thing develops and I start, to like get my feet on the ground and sort of speak to other people and hear how this thing works, I will be sure to come back and report to you guys, because I got your back. See you guys in my next video. Please remember to subscribe and like my video if you really did enjoy it. Bye.